My good friend, come in. We have need of you.
What has occurred?
A passenger lies dead in his bed, stabbed.
A passenger? Which passenger?
In there. He's an American, a man called Ratchet. It was his valet masterman who was worried that Mr. Ratchet was not awake yet. Pierre Michel, the conductor, decided to break in and found the body.
I see. Well, my friend, I think it is best not to touch anything and wait for the police to arrive.
Oh, I tried to call the police, but there is no cell tower for many kilometers. We could be stuck in the snow for hours. The murderer is with us. On the train, now! The sooner we catch him, the sooner we'll be out of danger. The Dr. Constantine is already examining the body.
Mon ami, this is not a missing train ticket. We must follow procedure. We must wait for the police to secure the crime scene.
Please, Poirot. I will take full responsibility.
Book, you ask. Well, if we cannot contact the outside world, then... Oh, you are going to drive me crazy. In truth, this problem intrigues me. I was reflecting not half an hour ago that many hours of boredom lay ahead whilst we are stuck here. And now, a problem lies ready to my hand.
You accept then?
C'est entendu. You place the matter in my hands.
Mr. Poirot, I am Dr. Constantine.
Forgive me, Doctor. You are a medical examiner?
No, but I have assisted in post-mortems at Nairobi Hospital, where I am a teaching fellow.
I am familiar with your excellent institution.
I do not intend to perform a full autopsy, but a preliminary examination should be of some use.
Of course. May I have a look? Then we can compare notes.
Please, if you need any help, I won't be far away. Mr. Poirot, I am Dr. Constantine.
Forgive me, Doctor. You are a medical examiner?
No, but I have assisted in post-mortems at Nairobi Hospital, where I am a teaching fellow.
I am familiar with your excellent institution.
I do not intend to perform a full autopsy, but a...
That was easy. I'm sorry, Doctor, but I must question you.
Of course. I must be considered under suspicion like everyone else.
May I know your movements last night?
I share compartment 101 with Mr. Booth. He would not stop talking about his beloved train. I listened to him for hours talking about his Orient Express.
My friend Book will no doubt confirm this. Did you know the victim?
Not at all. I noticed him last night at dinner, but I did not pay much attention.
Did you touch anything in here this morning?
I checked for a pulse. There was none. Rigor mortis had commenced. The body was cool to the touch. I touched nothing else.
What can you tell me about the victim?
He died from multiple stab wounds of varying angles and depth. More than one would have been fatal. I would place the time of death roughly between midnight and 2 a.m. With more time, I hope I can be more precise.
I assume the open window complicates matters.
Indeed. Conditions are not perfect.
Thank you for your help, Doctor.
As you see, the victim has been stabbed many times. Several alone would have been fatal.
Yes, I agree. An attack most savage.
I will, of course, prepare a complete report on my findings.
Thank you. I'll take photos. The watch is broken. The hands are stopped at 1:15 a.m. One would expect that to be the time when the attack occurred. Did it belong to Ratchet? Last night, Monsieur Ratchet said he takes precautions. I see now what he meant. He knew he was in danger and wanted to be ready, yet it was no use to him. I will leave it here for the police. This phone was deliberately smashed. I'm sure I will find some interesting things inside. A handkerchief. There's a letter H embroidered on it. I wonder what could be in this photo. A box of sleeping pills. Where can the killer have gone? The snow is falling only lightly this morning. The murderer would have left tracks in the snow if he had jumped out the window. The chain lock is broken. Monsieur Michel told me that he broke the chain on the door to get into the room. I shouldn't leave until I have finished inspecting the crime scene. This door communicates with compartment 204. The latch is open on this side. I must admit I'm not right this time. No, not good. but I'm never far from the truth. So, the murderer must have exited through Madame Hubbard's room. Et voilà. I do not think that's the right answer. That's the right answer. For Daisy. Interesting. My little gray cells did not let me down. Not exactly the reading material one would expect of a man like Ratchet. Not exactly. Expensive clothing, recently laundered. Not very surprising. Ratchet had an appointment he will never keep. A meeting place on the back of a postcard. Someone with the initials A.W. Unusual letter, this. This is wrong, but I'm never... Think, Poirot, that is not a good answer. I can't imagine Ratchet taking a sleeping pill if he feared for his life. My little gray cells did not let me down. I'm right again. That happens to me a lot. I think I've seen everything I need at the moment. I'm counting on you to finish your analysis.
I'll have a more detailed report for you as soon as I can.
So, Poirot, did you find anything out?
It's a bit early for the handcuffs, my friend. Even for Hercule Poirot. Do not worry, mon ami. I believe our culprit has no plans to strike again. Monsieur Ratchet was the target. Of that I am convinced. Tell me, Book, how did you spend last night?
This is a joke, I hope. Don't you trust your old friend?
My friend, calm yourself. I must hear your story in order to corroborate other accounts.
Ah, naturally. Let me see. I went to my compartment after dinner. Dr. Constantine was already there. We talked about his career. He's a Cambridge man, you know. After university, he returned to his country and has done much good there. He was so interested in the Orient Express. I told him all the anecdotes I know. I'm not certain when we fell asleep, but it was very late.
Here is what I have found out. Monsieur Ratchet was stabbed many times. I also found threatening letters in his safe. He had a loaded gun under his pillow, so he was on guard, ready to defend himself. However, there was an empty glass with white residue at the bottom. I suspect a barbiturate. Perhaps he was forced to take it. In any case, I am certain he was unconscious, unable to defend himself. I also found several other items at the crime scene, possibly related to the murder. They must be investigated.
By all means, Poirot. As fast as you can.
I also found liquid for an electronic cigarette, but I could not find a vape. This might belong to the murderer.
This criminal is an amateur.
I need a list of the passengers with their compartment numbers.
Pierre Michel will have it.
I must interview the rest of the passengers and the staff.
I'll be in the bar car if you need me. We are hours late. Soon I hope help will arrive.
Monsieur Michel, I must ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
I will do everything I can to help.
First of all, tell me about yourself.
Very well. My name, as you know, is Pierre Michel. I am from Calais. I've been with the company for over 15 years.
Thank you. Monsieur Michel, I must ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
I will do everything I can to help.
First of all, tell me about yourself.
Very well. My name, as you know, is Pierre Michel. I am from Calais. I've been with the company for over 15 years.
Thank you. Monsieur Michel, I must... That was easy. Can you provide me with a listing of the passengers and their rooms, please?
Yes, certainly.
Are you a smoker?
Indeed.
Do you smoke e-cigarettes?
No. Tobacco only.
I would like to reconstruct with your help the events of last night. Monsieur Ratchet retired to bed. When?
Almost immediately after dinner, sir. Actually, before we left Belgrade.
Did anybody go into his compartment after that?
His valet, monsieur. Monsieur Masterman. And then his secretary, the young American gentleman. Monsieur McQueen.
And that is the last time you saw or heard of him?
No, monsieur. You forget that Monsieur Ratchet rang his bell around 12:40 a.m., soon after we had stopped. I knocked at the door, but he called out in French, "Ce n'est rien, je me suis trompé." I then left to answer another bell that had just rung.
Where were you at 1:15 a.m.?
I was sitting on my little seat at the end of the car, facing up the corridor.
Are you sure?
I left a little after 1 a.m. to speak about the snow with my colleague Jean in the bar car. I came back later. There was a call. I remember speaking to you.
Indeed, I remember. Carry on.
It was the American lady, Madame Hubbard. She thought she saw a man in her compartment. Then, around 1:50 a.m., I made the bed for Monsieur Ratchet's secretary, Monsieur McQueen. He had spent the evening talking with the English Captain Arbuthnot. At 2 a.m., I returned to my place and stayed there until dawn.
What is the last station where we stopped?
Vinkovsky.
Could someone have come on board?
Possibly. I was very busy. Owing to the weather, we were a few minutes late. We left at 12:10 a.m.
No, not good. That was easy. Good morning, madam. I am Hercule Poirot.
Caroline Hubbard. What can I do for you, Mr. Poirot?
I am the bearer of unfortunate news.
It's obvious with all the commotion that something has happened.
Madame Hubbard, I am afraid your neighbor, Monsieur Ratchet, was murdered last night.
Oh my God! I knew it! I knew it!
I would like to ask you some questions, but first, may I inspect your room?
Of course, yes, you must.
Et voilà. This door connects to Monsieur Ratchet's compartment. It was latched on this side. This door connects to Monsieur Ratchet's compartment. It was latched on this side. The luxury of the Orient Express is present in every detail. Here is a jacket button. It bears the logo of the Orient Express. Ha-ha! Golden mustache. Madame, please tell me about last night.
The murderer was right here in my compartment. I woke up. All in the dark it was. I was just so scared I couldn't scream. I pressed the call button. I pressed and pressed. I heard footsteps running in the corridor, then a knock on my door. "Come in," I screamed. And I switched on the lights at the same time. And would you believe it? There wasn't a soul there.
You think he went back into the other compartment?
How do I know where he went? I had my eyes shut tight. The conductor came in. I told the man what had happened, and he didn't seem to believe me. I asked him to search the room, but he found nothing. I told the conductor to look at the door between the compartments, and sure enough, it wasn't bolted. Well, I soon saw to that. I told him to bolt it, then and there.
How is it you didn't bolt the door between the two compartments?
But I had. Well, as a matter of fact, I asked that Swedish lady, Olsen, Greta, if it was bolted, and she said it was.
How was it you could not see for yourself?
I was already in bed, and my toiletry bag was hanging on the hook of the door. I couldn't see the latch from where I was.
What time was it when you asked her to do this for you?
Oh, it must have been around 10:30 or 10:45 p.m. She'd come along to see if I had an aspirin. But instead of opening my door, she opened Mr. Ratchet's door by mistake. He said something quite rude, like, "Not a chance, lady, you're too old." It shocked her. She came in. I told her where to find the aspirin, and she got it out of my toiletry bag. Poor girl, she didn't have a good night.
The same could be said for Monsieur Ratchet. It appears Mademoiselle Olsen may be the last person to see Ratchet alive. Is this your handkerchief?
No, not at all.
Yet it is embroidered with an initial H, like your name.
I don't care. It's not mine, and I would certainly never buy something so impractical as that frilly thing.
Are you a smoker?
No, definitely not. Filthy habit.
I found a jacket button on your table. It looks like it belongs to a train employee. The button bears the logo of the Orient Express.
Well, of course the conductor came in last night, but he didn't go near that table.
Still, it's a safe bet that it belongs to the conductor. I'll check his jacket later, to be sure. I have not finished inspecting your room. If you don't mind, let's see if Mrs. Hubbard was telling the truth about the latch of the connecting door. This hook is probably where Mrs. Hubbard hung her toiletry bag. This hook is probably where Mrs. Hubbard I can see the latch very well from here, even with the toiletry bag attached. I'll have to clear that up with Mrs. Hubbard. Mrs. Hubbard, you told me that the door connecting the two compartments was closed, correct?
Yes, it was, as I told you. I was already in bed and my toiletry bag was hanging on the hook of the door. I couldn't see the latch from where I was. That's why I asked Miss Olsen to check if it was closed.
Are you sure everything you've told me is accurate, Madame Hubbard?
Of course. I have an excellent memory.
Mrs. Hubbard, I tested putting your toiletry bag on the door hook as you told me. From your bed, you can easily see the latch on the door. The toiletry bag does not hide the latch at all.
Are you saying I'm lying? It may have been stuck somehow in a different position. Or I may not have seen it in the darkness. Or I didn't think to look, you irritating man.
Details matter, madame. A man has been most savagely murdered. You will excuse me if I attempt to separate the truth from the false.
Forget my toiletry bag and focus on who entered my compartment. Probably after killing Mr. Ratchet.
Madame Hubbard is a force to be reckoned with, but I suspect I'm not done with her. Thank you for your assistance, madame. While Monsieur Michel was chatting with Monsieur Fauchet in the bar car between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m., the murderer could have escaped Ratchet's room without being seen. My little gray cells did not let me down. Very well, I choose to go this way. According to the information I have, this is a solid choice.